In the headlines, government hosts pre-budget consultation, 2018-2019 national budget to focus on improving doing business in Dominica, and Minister for Urban Renewal praises implementation of road project at Botanic Gardens. Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm Kimani St. Stay tuned for details of the headline stories and others coming up. Welcome back, and now for the details. The private sector, civil society, labor unions and other stakeholders on Thursday had the opportunity to share their views and plans contributing towards Dominica's development ahead of the 2018-2019 national budget. The government of Dominica engaged these stakeholders at a pre-budget consultation at the Goodwill Parish Hall. Following discussion, the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, assured participants of the value of their contributions.
We treat these consultations with seriousness. It's not everything that will find its way, but I give you the assurance that we treat every point that we may not agree with its initial bio or initial reaction, but we do spend time analyzing it to see what is it that we need to put in place. As a matter of fact, some of the things that you mentioned, I passed a note to Ambassador Lambert and said, these things must find their way straight off in the budget and so forth.
And the Honorable Prime Minister says, besides infrastructural development, the 2018-2019 national budget will focus on improving the climate for doing business in Dominica. Prime Minister Skerrit was speaking on Focus on Government and Development on DBS Radio on Thursday.
This budget needs to focus on improving the climate of doing business in Dominica. We need to look at what are the challenges people have in doing business in Dominica, and we need to systematically address them. Do we need to amend existing legislation? Do we need to introduce new legislation? Do we need to get rid of existing legislation? Are there policy decisions we could take? Are there some structural changes we need to make? What is it that we need to do? And this was part of the focus of the engagement with the social and economic partners today. How is life, treating you as a business person, And because at the end of the day, the private sector really are the front line of the business, and we have to hear from them and to listen to them and to see how we can work together towards addressing this.
The Finance Minister says while there has been much improvements over the years, there are still complaints. His government's mission, he says, is to locate the challenges and work with the private sector to bring solutions.
And what we're going to be doing, these are things that we've attempted before, but we need to zero in on it and get it done and set timelines to get it done, is that we will put an oversight committee in place made up of both the private and public sector to monitor and to oversee the implementation of the measures that the government will take insofar as doing business is concerned. So at customs, why are goods taking so long to be cleared? What is the problem? Because when we introduced the Articular World was to cause it to be more efficient. Are we implementing it to the extent which the law allows it and the framework allows it? The port, there's not much you can do at the port in terms of physical aspect because the port was not built in any comprehensive manner. It was built piece by piece. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's just like a maze, and we can speak later on about the intention of the government to build a new port in Dominica. So it's a matter of looking at things, the legislation, the approval process for various licenses.
He believes that once there is greater confidence in the business environment in Dominica, then there will be room for more investment. Public Service Day 2018 was officially launched on Friday morning with a ceremony held at the Goodwill Parish Hall. Public service recognition is a time set aside for highlighting achievers and awarding retirees of the public service. This year, the theme chosen is Building a Resilient Public Service, a Collective Response. The Honorable Minister for Ecclesiastical Affairs, Family and Gender Affairs, Lady Catherine Daniel, used the occasion to applaud the philanthropic efforts of public servants for building back post-Hurricane Maria.
To the many public officers who worked tirelessly to get the wheels of government moving into the realm of service to our people, I applaud your efforts and dedication, despite the fact that many of you had your own losses, challenges to deal with. Some of you went to the extent of providing meals for people who were hard at work, your own meals at no cost, and feeding those who were there to sustain the system that was so impacted. And I want to say a very big thank you for that. It shows your dedication and commitment.
Honorable Daniel shared that she was heartened to notice the commitment of public servants and believes that this spirit will translate into a force for driving Dominica into becoming the first climate-resilient nation.
The response of our dedicated healthcare professionals, the fire and ambulance personnel, the police officers, our teachers, staff of the various ministries who came out to clean, to ensure some sort of normalcy, and to those who worked under deplorable conditions, all made us proud of our public officers. You know, it was really heartening to see public officers. They didn't care what they wore, they didn't care how they looked, they had no water at home, they had no lights, and they came in very early.
Activities for Public Service Day will include Eat Fish entertainment nights, weekend excursions, a sports day, and an ecumenical service. The events will culminate with an awards and recognition service and an outreach program in the form of renovations to the Portsmouth Home for the Aged. In more news, the nation's leader says the 2018-2019 national budget will seek to lay the foundation for Dominica becoming the first climate-resilient nation in the world. This ambition was put forth by the Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit soon after the island was battered by Hurricane Maria in September 2017. Well, the Labour Party administration plans to set the pace for this by building Roseau into a model city.
The idea is to build the city as a sample, as a model, that what the rest of the country would look like going forward. So we will be certainly starting the first phase, or the second phase rather, of the Roseau Enhancement Project, where we'll be focusing on a certain number of streets in the city, to new sidewalks, new drainage. We'll be putting the docks so that the electrical lines and the telephone lines could be placed in underground docks and to enhance the resilience capabilities of our city, and of course taking it in the future to the rest of the country.
The Honorable Prime Minister was speaking on Focus on Government and Development on DBS Radio on Thursday. And finally, Member of Parliament for the Roseau constituency and the Honorable Minister for Urban Renewal, Joseph Isaac, is praising government's work in rebuilding the main road through the Botanic Gardens. He says small island states like Dominica has been plagued with the challenges of capacity and implementation. However, the project undertaken by government just under a month ago is about 95% complete. Honorable Isaac is pleased with the speed of implementation of the work done in the Botanic Gardens and says this is a sample of the method of implementation for future projects.
One of the major projects that actually was, the vision was there by the Prime Minister, but through discussion with the Prime Minister and the Minister of Works, you'd see we actually broke a record in Dominica. We created and actually rebuilt a new road in the gardens, because we actually graded out the old road and established a new road over 1,000 feet long. You know where the gardens road itself. In a record time, started the project May 25th, and right now we are 95% complete. Created approximately 30 jobs, short-term jobs there. At the same time, engaged free contractors. That again spreading the bread among different people there. So that's I say that there is a sample, a project to show that with the challenges we have had in the past as a small island state of implementation and lack of capacity, what it showed there was a prime minister had a vision. He pulled 2 ministers together and other technical people, and in less than a month he created over 1,000 feet of road.
An implementation committee for the redevelopment of the Botanic Gardens has been put in place. GIS will bring you more on those plans in subsequent newscasts. And that's news. Before we leave here, a few announcements. The Department of Local Government invites all residents of Salisbury to community outreach meetings. Upper Salisbury on Tuesday, June 26, 2018 at 6 p.m. close to the shop of Miss Heslin Ambo, and Lower Salisbury on Thursday, June 28, 2018 at 6 p.m. close to Bobot Bar area. Please make every effort to attend and dialogue on the role and benefits of local government and community development. The general public is hereby informed that National Day of Community Service application forms are now available. Forms can be collected at the Department of Local Government on High Street or at any village council office. Project designs must contribute to climate resilience, for example, storm drains, shutters for shelters, and access roads. Please note that the deadline for submission of all forms is on or before July 13, 2018. And finally, beware of counterfeit EC notes that may be in circulation. The Criminal Investigations Department of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force has confirmed that a sum of counterfeit EC notes has been confiscated in the Commonwealth of Dominica. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, the ECCB, therefore advises the public to be on the lookout for counterfeit notes. The ECCB wishes to remind the public that counterfeit notes have no value and that it is a criminal offense to use or be in possession of counterfeit notes. The ECCB urges the public to note the security features of genuine EC notes, which include a security thread with text reading ECCB is incorporated into the paper. The thread can be seen clearly through the paper. A serial number printed vertically on the left side and horizontally on the right side of the notes. No 2 notes of the same denomination bear the same serial number. On the front left-hand side, a watermark of Queen Elizabeth II can be seen when the note is held to light. A watermark highlight which reads ECCB can also be clearly seen when the note is held up to light. An image of several fishes printed with special ink which glows is at the center of the back of the note. Genuine banknotes are printed on special paper which gives them a unique feel. Individuals who think they may be in possession of EC counterfeit notes should report the matter to the police station nearest them. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS on facebook.com/GIS News Dominica and follow us on Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I am Kimani St. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.